So for this session, I'm going to allow us to think about belonging. So what does belonging mean, and what does belonging mean in the world of the care system? So when you think about a young person coming in to care, the first thing we automatically do as residential staff is try and give them a sense of belonging. Allow them to come into the house, allow them to have their own room, to be able to decorate their own room. We introduce them to the young people that surround us. We attempt to build relationships, introduce them to the local community, to things that are on. We look at moving them schools to a local school, and this is all a sense of allowing them to belong, because it's super important for a young person to belong and feel that they belong. And that isn't going to happen overnight, of course, but it's by chipping away at all the little bits that I've spoke about that actually gives them a sense that they belong in the house, and that's going to be their home for a period of time, that they're wanted and they're beloved and nurtured in that environment. But for me, having worked in the sector for a lot of years, there's a massive big but. Now, what we spoke about belonging and the work that we do initially for a young person to feel that they belong is, as I say, absolutely needed, perfect. However, what happens when we are not around anymore? Where do these young people belong? So, thinking about that, how often do we then look at the bigger picture? How often do we think about families? How often do we think about cousins, friends, all the losses that they've had in their own community, like the loss of their schools, the loss of their friendships, the loss of their shopkeepers, the loss of their janitor at school that knew their name and gave them a wee pat on the head every morning when they went in. I feel sometimes we do not consider that they belong there. So as though it's our place, and very much so, that we need to foster a sense of belonging when they come and live with us in our care, but we cannot lose sight of where they really belong and what that means for them, because we are not going to be around forever. We just aren't. We're paid staff, like we're paid to go to work, and although we love our jobs and we take it really, really seriously, one day we're not going to be there. So I think it should be a consideration, and we probably need to work harder in those care plannings at making belonging wider than just in the home, in the residential home, and we need to think about where else they belong and how we can foster that in amongst that care planning to keep those attachments, because they certainly will be there when we're not around anymore, and that's really, really, really important, and it's something that I think is really missed and that we don't think about so often. And I suppose it's like, after a long, long time in this career, I look at some young people and think why they fail when they move out, but they've failed when they move out because they don't belong anywhere. Like, it's okay as saying, oh, you'll always be able to come back to the children's house, and you'll always be welcome here, and you'll always have a friendly face, and phone us when you need any help, which is all comes from a really good place, and it's something that we all would want to do. But can I tell you, recently I heard a story. So a young person lived in a children's house for 6 years, had really deep, meaningful conversations with a number of staff in that house. He did enjoy his time in care in the house. Obviously had its ups and downs like everything else, but a positive journey for him and a positive ending. So moving forward, he lives on his own. He's got a car, and he's got a wee job. So he's out doing deliveries with Uber Eats, Just Eat, whatever, or the local Chinese. I'm not 100% sure of the actual job. Anyway, he was out and about in the community that he used to live in, and he was needing pee. So he thought, I'll just need to go to the house. So he went to the door and asked, could I use the toilet? He does have a medical condition that he needs to go, and the member of staff that opened the door had no idea who he was. He's not lived in the house for about 3 years now, had no idea who he was, and he was explaining, I used to live here, I lived here for a long time, and he rhymed off some of the staff that he worked with, and the member of staff was new. All those staff had left, he didn't know him and refused him. So, as you can imagine, he was devastated, like thinking, oh my goodness, like that was my home, like now nobody like don't know me, I get that, but there's not even a member of staff there tonight that actually remembered them. So with good intentions we can say we'll always be here. The truth is we won't always be there. So we need to start thinking about the wider circle and their wider family and friends and where they really belong.